All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We're tracking a critical threat to Adobe Acrobat and Reader, designated CVE-2020-9715. This is not a drill. Let's get right into the intelligence.
So what are we looking at? The vulnerability is what's called a use after free memory flaw. Now, in plain English, that means the application tries to use a piece of memory it's already finished with, kind of like trying to open a door with a key you already threw away. This creates a perfect window for an attacker, and if they exploit it successfully, they get arbitrary code execution. All it takes is for you or one of your users to open a single weaponized PDF. That's it. That's the entire attack. From there, they can take complete control of the system with your privileges. They own the box.
The CVSS 3.1 base score is a 7.8, and that's rated high. And look, this isn't just some abstract number. It's a direct measure of the damage. We're talking a severe threat to confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So what does that mean for you? It means an attacker could be stealing your data, changing your files, or even locking you out of your own system entirely.
Now, let's walk the timeline to see how this thing escalated. This CVE isn't brand new. It was first published way back in August 2020, and the exploit details were public just a month later. But here's the part you really need to focus on. On April 13th of this year, CISA, that's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, confirmed this vulnerability as being actively exploited in the wild. This is the game changer. It's moved from a theoretical problem to a very real, very present danger. That's why there's a federal mitigation deadline of April 27th. The clock is ticking.
This threat is out there now, and you can bet it won't be the last. So, before we go any deeper, we need to make sure your Intel channel is secure. Let's establish that communication protocol right now.
I need you to follow this three-step protocol. First, establish your Intel feed. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. This is a security imperative for getting real-time threat data. Second, I need you to acknowledge receipt of this advisory. Give it a like. Third, report your status in the comments. Just type patched or vulnerable. This isn't for vanity. It gives us the ground truth we need to gauge the operational blast radius.
Okay, comms channel secure. Let's proceed with the deep dive. First up, the blast radius. We need to define exactly which systems are in the line of fire. Get your eyes on this. On screen are the vulnerable configurations for both Windows and Mac OS. If you're on the continuous track, any version 2020.009.2074 and earlier is wide open. For the classic tracks, 2020, 2017, and 2015, you've got specific vulnerable builds listed. You need to check your installed versions against this matrix, now.
So what's the root cause here? It's a surprisingly elegant but totally catastrophic logic flaw. Here's how it works. When the software stores an object pointer, it uses an ANSI string as the key to the cache. But when it tries to delete that pointer, it looks for it using a Unicode string. The problem? The keys don't match. It's like putting something in a locker with a metal key, then trying to open it with the plastic one. The lookup fails, and that stale, exploitable pointer is just left sitting in memory, waiting for an attacker.
So how does an attacker actually use this flaw? Here's the play-by-play. The 5-step attack vector. Step 1, they craft the malicious PDF. Step 2, they get it to you, usually through a simple phishing email or a compromised website. Step 3, the user opens the file. That's all it takes, just one click. That single action triggers Step 4, the memory corruption we just talked about. And finally, Step 5, the attacker gets arbitrary code execution with all the permissions of the current user. Game over.
We've defined the threat, we understand the attack, now we move to defense. The next section contains the most critical, actionable intelligence for protecting your perimeter. Pay close attention.
Your primary line of defense is and always will be patching. These are the mandatory updates from Adobe's official security bulletin. You must update your software to these versions or a later one to close this hole. This is absolutely non-negotiable if you care about system integrity.
Now, for those of you in environments where patching can't happen immediately, there is a workaround for Windows systems. These two registry commands will harden your configuration. The first one disables JavaScript inside Acrobat, which kills a very common vector for triggering exploits. The second command forces protected view, which basically sandboxes files from untrusted sources, limiting what they can do. If you can't patch right this second, deploy this workaround immediately. We operate under a simple principle: coordinated vulnerability disclosure. We're putting this intel out there because you need it to protect your systems. Our mission is to take these threats apart, expose the attacker's methods, and arm you with the knowledge to defend your turf right now. This kind of disclosure forces fixes and empowers the people on the front lines. That's you.
That concludes this advisory. Implement the mitigations, verify your patches, stay secure.